Quiz over 6.4, 6.5 review, starting off with some good old division from 6.4 where we just have one term on bottom. That means we don't have to resort to long division. We need to do 15 over x to the ninth. We need to put that over the bottom, which is 5x cubed, plus 25x to the sixth over 5x cubed. If we separate it out like this, which we're allowed to do since there's only one term on the bottom, it lets us look at this as a much simpler simplification kind of thing. 15 over 5 right here simplifies to be 3, because 15 divided by 5 is 3. X to the ninth over x to the third, you subtract those exponents because we are dividing, so we subtract the exponents and get x to the sixth. And then 25 divided by 5 is 5. Subtract these exponents. 6 minus 3 is 3, so that's x to the third. So there's our answer for that problem. Number 2 is a similar type of problem. And so we're just going to put this each. Okay, so think of this last one like negative 30x cubed over. And because I put the negative up there next to 30, this would be a plus sign in the middle. So that's kind of tricky. Okay, so on this first one, negative over negative makes a positive. 24 over 6 gives us 4. 5 minus 4 on our exponents is 1, so that's x to the first. We don't need to write the 1. Positive over negative is a negative. 30 divided by 6 is 5. The x to the fourth are the exact same, so they cancel out. Think of it like 4 minus 4 is 0, and x to the 0, remember, is 1, so it goes away. Negative over negative here is a positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5, but if we look at our x's, we have 4 minus 3, which is 1, but there's more x's on the bottom, which means our answer x that we get after we subtract needs to be on the bottom. So this would be our answer on that one. Now let's get to this good old long division. So we start off here by putting what we're dividing by, and then underneath we put what we're dividing into. And there is a step-by-step process to this that you have to remember in order to be able to do it. We have to start off by figuring out basically how many times x plus 9 goes into x squared plus 19x. And the way we do that, we say, well, what times x gives us x squared? Well, x times x gives us x squared. So x plus 9 goes into x squared plus 19x, x number of times. So that can be kind of confusing the way that we're thinking about that, because x isn't a number. X is a number, we just don't know what number it is. So our next thing, once we know that this is x up here, is we multiply both of these things by x, and we write it underneath here. But after we multiply x times x is x squared, we change it to the opposite sign. 9 times x is 9x, but we change it to negative 9x. That's because, like in long division that we used to do back in the day, we always subtracted the numbers from it. So now we're subtracting. Since both of these were positive, we're subtracting both numbers. These cancel. 19x minus 9x is 10x. So plus 90. We say what times x gives us 10x. So this x and this 10x is what we're looking at. What times x gives us 10x? Well, that would be a plus 10. Then we go back and we multiply. 10 times x is 10x, change the sign. 10 times 9 is 90, change the sign, so that's minus 90. Those both cancel out, leaving us with 0, so we have no remainder. Our answer is simply x plus 10. Another long division. Well, this doesn't necessarily look like fun because of those negatives, but we'll, I suppose, have to see it through. Okay, we want to say, what do we multiply negative 4x by to get 8x cubed? So let's do this step by step. We have a negative, we don't want it to be negative, so we have to multiply by a negative. We have 4 and we want 8, so we multiply by 2. We have x and we want x cubed, so that means we multiply by x squared. So then we take negative 2x squared and we multiply both of these by negative 2x squared. And after we multiply, we have to change the sign. So negative 4x times negative 2x squared gives us positive 8x cubed. But then we change the sign so it's subtract. Negative 5 times negative 2x squared is positive 10x squared, but we change it to a minus. So this is negative 16x squared minus 24x. So we have to now kind of start over. We're looking at, what do I multiply negative 4x by to get negative 16x squared? We have a negative, we want a negative, so we don't need to multiply by a negative. We have 4 and we need 16, so we multiply by 4. We have x and we need x squared, so we multiply by x. And now we go back and multiply. Negative 4x times 4x is negative 16x squared, and then we change the sign. Negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x, and then we change the sign, so it's really plus 20x. So those cancel. This is negative 4x minus 5. Whoa, hey now. This is pretty cool. Negative 4x. What do we multiply negative 4x by to get negative 4x? Well, we already have what we want, so we would multiply by a plus 1. And when we multiply by a plus 1 to write stuff down here, we get plus 4x. Well, we get a negative 4x and we change it to plus. We get negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. We change it to plus 5. Both of them cancel out, so no remainder. So our answer is negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. And last, good old synthetic division. We take whatever is right here, this says x minus 2, and we change the sign so that we have a positive 2 instead. Then we take the coefficients from here and we line them up. 4, negative 17, 18, skip some space, draw your line. So we take the 4 and we drop it. And then here we do 2 times 4 to get this number, which is 8. Negative 17 plus 8 is negative 9. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. 18 minus 18 is 0. So to write our answer, we have to look 1 to the right. We started with an x squared, which means our answer is going to start with an x. So this is 4x minus 9 plus, there's a 0 for the remainder, so we don't write it. It's just 4x minus 9. Number 6 is kind of tricky. We've got to pay attention. Again, we change the sign here, so this is 6. But remember that if this is x to the 4th, we're missing x cubed, we're missing x squared, we're missing x, and then we finally have our number at the end. So we need 1, and then we need 3 zeros, and then we have 1296. So very important to make sure those zeros are there, or you will get the wrong answer, unless you just somehow magically get it, and then I'd suspect some tomfoolery. So drop the 1, multiply, 6 times 1 gives you 6, 0 plus 6 is 6, 6 times 6 is 36, 0 plus 36 is 36, 6 times 36 is 216, 0 plus 216 is 216. 6 times 216, I think, is 1296. Let me just do some math. Yep, 1296. Oh no, if only that one of those was a minus, they'd cancel each other out, but they don't, so we actually have to add them together. So that gives us let's see, is that right? I think that's right, 2592. So we started with x to the 4th up here, which means our answer starts with x cubed. So it's 1x cubed plus 6x squared plus 36x plus 216 plus 2592 over x minus 6. And that's all the review for 6.4 and 6.5.